好，大家好，歡迎收睇我哋英國嘅節目啊！上一次咧 Nicholas 就訪問咗一個英國當地嘅培訓師 Minesh，個內容相當豐富啊！今次咧 Nicholas 又會再為我哋訪問下 Minesh 嘅，時間交俾 Nicholas。Hello Nicholas，
唔該 Jojo。咁跟住落嚟咧，又會係我哋英國嘅專業培訓師咧，阿 Minesh 繼續講解咧佢關於喺培訓方面嘅心得。大家上次都見到咧，由於Minesh 佢唔識講廣東話嘅，咁所以咧跟住落嚟咧個段落咧，我哋冚唪唥都係用英語進行，希望咧大家可以欣賞。
Welcome back. Today we have Minesh again telling us more about decision making. Minesh.
So, if you remember last week, I said we were going to go through decision making today.
Yep.
And how to make decisions, how not to make them, and what your emotions, your thinking, and your state of mind have to do with your decisions. So, normally, if we have a simple decision to make, whether to order this from a restaurant or this from a restaurant menu, it's quite simple. But when you have a bigger decision, let's say it's buying a car or even buying a house, going on holiday, those decisions are considered bigger because they cost more. Like a restaurant meal might be $20, $30, but if you consider buying a car or something, we're talking about thousands. And so because of that, we think that little bit more as to whether it's a good deal or not.
Mm-hmm.
And when we...
And also, well, as you know that our audience, I would say a majority of them, they are investors.
Mm-hmm.
So from my understanding, when you said making decisions, when they are buying a house maybe, they may buy it for themselves. I mean, for the family, husband, wife, and the kids, or they might buy it for investment.
Yeah.
So meaning that when they make some decisions, it all depends what's it for, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to buy a house, I think for themselves, then if the wife said that, I love it. The kids said, I love this place. So it's relatively easier for them to design.
To make, yes.
Yeah. However, if there's for investment, then the factors that they may consider may be a little bit more when they buying a house for themselves.
Correct.
Please.
It's when you're making a decision and it's one of those quick thinking decisions, you're using what we refer to as your conscious mind, which is about 5% of your whole mind's capacity.
Yeah.
The other 95% is your unconscious mind. That has more of the information you need. And if you can tap into that, you'll make the right decision. Consciously, you will look at what's logical. And that's how your mind works, because you will use the left side of your brain, which is the logical part of your mind. And because you're thinking logically, you'll think, okay, if this is this, this is this, this is this, that should be correct, or that is wrong. But in some instances, there have been times where you may make a decision once and think, yeah, that's good, but is it or isn't it? For example, let me give you an example of what I mean by making a decision.
Okay.
A friend of mine, he was going to sell his house, and it's quite a big house.
Okay.
He lives in the south of England.
Okay.
And his house was worth, at the time, 2.3 million.
Okay.
Now, he put it on the market thinking, okay, let me sell it and see what happens. But he also used the technique I'm going to describe here to decide whether to sell it or not at that time. Logically, it was the right time to sell. But in the back of his mind, because of what the techniques he used, something kept telling him, don't sell it yet. Don't sell it yet. Said it's not the right time. It's not the right time. And so after about a month or so, he took it off the market. And his wife said, what are you doing? Why? We need to sell it. He goes, no, not right now, not right now. And then 6 months later, when literally, people aren't buying at that time, he put it back up on the market. And he told his estate agent and said, okay, now I want to sell. He said, but you want to sell now? He said, yeah, I want to sell now. He said, okay, fine. And as he was, as his estate agent got all the details together again to put it up on the market, he picked up a friend of his who had come from the States. And his friend, he was going to stay at the estate agent's house, and they drove past this person's house. And the gentleman said, that is a beautiful house. Whose is that? He goes, actually, that's a friend of mine. He's just putting it up on the market now. He goes, you're joking? He goes, no. He goes, I need a place here. He goes, how much is it? He goes, oh, well, I haven't got the thingy amount exactly. He goes, well, tell him whatever it is, I'll pay it. That's beautiful. I love that house. I said, well, okay, let me speak to him. Once we get home, I'll speak to him. And so once they got back to his house, he rang up my friend and said, okay, I actually have someone who wants your house. And he said, money's not a problem. He said, so how much? And he said, 3 million. And so he turned around, asked the American gentleman, 3 million. He goes, yeah, okay, I'll take it. So he actually got more for his property than he would have done 6 months previously.
But what was his rationale behind?
And this is what I'm going to be teaching.
Yes.
The reason behind all of this is when we make a decision of any kind, we think logically.
Yep.
That's the wrong way to do it. You want to let your mind decide whether something is right or not. And how do you do this? Like I said, 3 things. Number 1 is your state of mind. When you make a decision when you have a negative state of mind, the decision is usually wrong. So for instance, if something happens and you get angry and you say things while you're angry and things like that, and you make the wrong decision, most of the time that decision will be wrong. You may attack someone, or if it's with your spouse, you say, right, I want a divorce. Those decisions are most of the time, 99% of the time, wrong because you're not thinking straight. You're basing it on your state of mind. Your emotions are deciding for you, not you. And this is why making decisions have to be made when you are in a positive, clear state of mind. Just as we are now, we're in a clear state of mind. We don't have any negativity going on. And those negative thoughts or even emotions, so if you have a negative emotion of some kind, or you're worried about something, that's the wrong time to make a decision, especially a major decision. If it's a restaurant, stuff like that, that's easy. But if it's a major decision, i.e. investing, that's the wrong time. You should not be stressed out when you make decisions like that because your mind isn't thinking straight. You're trying to work things out logically and you're pushing forward. And so that is what causes you to end up with the wrong decision and the wrong result down the line. And you think, but everything was perfect, except your thinking, except your emotions, except your state of mind. They were wrong. And that is why you got the wrong result. And now, how was it that that gentleman sold his house later and not at the beginning? This is a technique, your mind technique, to decide whether something is good to do or not. First off, you have to make sure you're in a positive state. So no stress, no tension.
Yeah.
Okay?
You
And then
won't affected by your emotions.
You are always affected because your thinking is affected by your emotions.
Yeah.
Like if you're going down the road and you're listening to your favorite song and you're singing along and someone just cuts you up and you get angry and you horn at them and you you say some bad things to them or whatnot, your emotion has just changed. You were feeling so happy and absolutely fine before, but now you're angry. And if you don't let that go, it's going to affect the rest of your day. So you'll start making bad decisions throughout the day for no reason. And you might get angry at someone for no reason, even though normally you wouldn't. It's because of that one negative emotion and you kept hold of it. This is why you never make decisions when that kind of incident happens. Until you can get rid of it, unless it's dissipated from your body, don't make a major decision. So, how do you make these big decisions? Firstly, you need to decide what are your options. So, okay, in terms of investing, do I invest in this? Do I not? Okay? So let's say you have just basic decision, yes or no. What you do is you simply write down, if you invested in that, what is the possible outcome you could get? And then, if you didn't invest in that, what is the possible outcome you could get? So let's say you invest, I don't know, 10,000. What's the possible outcome you could get? And if it didn't work out, what would be the outcome? And if you didn't invest 10,000, what's the possible outcome? And then you simply sit quietly and you think about investing the 10K and see what outcome you get. And just imagine that as a movie in your mind. Let your mind think about that. That, okay, I invest this money, let's see what happens. So if I invest it and it goes well, this will happen, and yeah, okay. And if it doesn't, then this will happen. And then you go, you stop, take a break, 5 minutes, then come back and sit and think about if you didn't invest. And if you don't invest, what is the outcome? Think of that in your mind. Shut your eyes, nice quiet place, and just play that movie out in your mind. That, okay, let's see what would happen if I didn't invest. Yes, I'd be 10K richer, but then what would I lose? Would I lose anything? This, that, the other. Then stop once you've done that. 5-10 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. Then give yourself a few minutes. Then sit down and say, right, which one of them two made me feel good? The one that makes you feel good, so your emotions are really good, that's what you do. If, on the other hand, they're more or less the same, don't make a decision. And that's it. That's exactly what that gentleman did.
And how can he predict that the market will be better in 6 months' time or
That's
1 year's time?
You don't predict. He put his house on the market and then he did this technique that, okay, if I put it on the market and it sells, I'll get 2.3. If I don't, then, I'll still be here at the house. Which one should I do? And when he sat down, he played both of the movies in his mind, but not selling his house felt better. He felt good not selling it, and he didn't know why. But you never question your mind. Your mind is always right. You know what we call a gut feeling. You can feel it that, yeah, this is right, even though logically it doesn't make sense. But you can feel that, no, this is the right thing to do. It's that. And your mind knows what the right thing is. Your unconscious mind knows. And this technique asks your unconscious mind for answers, not your logical mind. Your logical mind is only a small amount. Like I said, 5%. The 95% is your unconscious. And that can get you all the answers that you want. And what he did was, he said, okay, for some reason, I feel better if I don't sell it now. So he took it off the market. And what happened?
There's a customer from America.
Yeah. Now, he didn't know how it was going to think, but it did. It benefited him. And this is how you make the good decisions on major things. You let your mind determine whether something is good or not. Whichever one makes you feel better. So if one feels really good and the other one feels okay, the one that feels really good, that's what you go for. Because when you're thinking about it, you'll be thinking about it and thinking, yeah, this and this and this. And your heartbeat will go, do, 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 and you're sat. You're in a nice, calm state, and yet your heart's going dum, dum, dum. Nothing wrong with you. It's because it's exciting. That's making you feel good. That's what you go for.
Okay.
But if the other one makes you feel just as good, don't make a decision. That means it's balancing out. Right now, you shouldn't make a decision on any of that. Drop the whole thing. It sounds weird, but I've seen this happen with so many people so often, and they always get the right result eventually. It's never, oh, I have to do this now, otherwise this will happen. Then you're thinking from an emotional state, because you're letting your emotions decide for you. Because you're worrying that if you don't invest, you might miss out. That is not the right way to make a decision.
So what you're saying is, in fact, I've heard is what people call the Benjamin Franklin's way, to have all the pluses and all the minuses and see which one that you think is better for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in this, your pluses and minuses are determined by your emotions.
By your
The better you feel, that's what you need to go for.
okay.
If something makes you feel really good and the other one doesn't make you feel that good, the one that makes you feel really good is what you go for. If both of them make you feel really good or just as bad or whatever, that means don't make a decision. The way you can work this out is you think of one and then you say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good did that make me feel?
Yeah.
So you might think, oh, okay, that was about a 7. Then you think of this one. Okay, that made me feel good as well. Okay, so how good did that make me feel? Oh, okay, that was about 6. All right, they're very equal.
Yeah.
Don't make a decision. Whatever that is, leave it completely. Right now is not the time to make that decision. And you should just leave it.
Okay.
It's very, especially when you're investing, it's very hard to think, no, I don't want to lose that. But your mind can work out so much more beyond what you know logically. Even if, obviously you don't know what the future holds. But when you decide on decisions based on your positive emotions and you let your mind decide, 99% of the time, it's correct.
And quite often, well, tell me if I'm wrong, when you have the kind of a positive feeling, all it comes is with your planning to go to this, option that you are going to take. So meaning that because of a better preparation, your decision will be always right.
Yes.
So I don't know whether I'm right to say that with the example that you made earlier, if you're going to divorce, don't do it now, but think about it. What are the consequences if you are going to divorce right now, and what are the options that you have?
Yeah.
And then by the time when you have planned, when you have prepared for all the options that you will encounter, and you make a divorce, by that time you will get the best out of your divorce.
Yes, that's if you're divorcing, but the whole idea of this is to not even get to that stage.
Yeah.
If there is, let's say, an issue in a relationship,
Yeah.
the best way is never to have that argument.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're going to be in a bad state.
Right.
And if you're in a bad state, you will never make a good decision.
Okay.
Nobody ever makes a good decision in a negative state.
So avoid argument.
Avoid negative state.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that makes you feel bad, get out of it as soon as you can. As soon as you get a bad thing, you'll know that, hang on, no, this is not good. Now our viewers will also realize, hang on, I'm thinking negative. I know Minesh said not to think that kind of thought. because it affects your thinking, it affects your state of mind and your emotions.
Okay.
And if you need to make an important decision that day, not a good idea, unless you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
Which, for a lot of people, because you're not conditioned that way to get rid of something that quick, like if something like that happened to me, and it's very, very rare that anything does, I can just get rid of it instantly.
Yeah. Are there any other example that, we can have regarding what you're saying, in making decisions?
There's one of a lady who she was deciding whether to come to my workshop or not. She lived in London.
Okay.
Where was it in London now? I can't remember the place, but
Okay.
she lived in London, and it's quite a trek for her to come to Manchester.
Yep.
And she said, oh, I'm not going to be able to come. I really want to, but I can't come. And I said, look, make the decision like this, just as I've explained.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to, find a way. She didn't know how she was going to get there. The train ticket was too expensive, because she said, I can afford, your fee, but I can't afford the train ticket then from London to Manchester.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And because the training is the whole day, she can't come back in the evening either, because it'll be too late.
Yeah.
So she said, I'd need a hotel as well.
Yeah.
So the expenses were too high. And so she said, I don't know what to do. I said, well, okay, make a decision like this. So she said, fine, okay. So her decision was, should I go or should I not go? And so she sat down and thought, okay, which one makes me feel most excited? And she thought about them both. And to go made her feel very, very excited. She didn't know much about what was going to happen.
Yeah.
She'd read the book, but that was about it. Then she thought, yes, I want to learn more. So she wanted to come to the workshop. But that was so high, she said, no, I have to go. I have to find a way to go. So she told me, because I'm gonna try and come. I said, okay, fine.
And finally,
I said, just know that you're coming.
yeah.
Don't try to work out what you're going to have to do to come. Just know that you're coming. And she had about 3 weeks before the event.
Okay.
And every week she would meet up with her friend for a coffee. She was her best friend from school, and she would meet them every week for coffee. And on that week, she met her for coffee, and they were just chatting, this, that, the other. And she was telling her about, some of the things that are actually in this book. And she said, that's strange, that. Because I read all about that in a book by Minesh Vaiwala. He goes, about struggle. And he said, yes. I said, oh, I've got that book. I read it too. And she said, oh, this one, she got it out of her purse. She says, yes, I've got that. And I'm thinking of going to the workshop. And she said, so am I. He said, how are you going? I said, oh, I'm going to drive. He goes, can I come with you? And she said, yes, of course you can. So she got a lift there into Manchester, and her friend's mum and dad live literally up the road in Hale.
Okay.
So she said, I'm going to stay there. You can stay with me.
Fantastic.
So no cost for traveling, no cost for
accommodations.
hotel,
Yeah.
and she was able to come.
Fantastic.
This is what I mean by decision. If she had thought, I can't come, I'm not buying a ticket, she would have missed out.
Yeah.
But when she let her mind decide for her whether something was good or not, and she followed what made her feel good, instantly everything just happens. And that's another example of how making the right decision
Yeah.
can lead to a very positive outcome.
Fantastic. I think what we're talking about here by Minesh is how to change our habits.
Yes.
Change the habits of thinking, change our habits of making decisions. So, of course, it's something new to us.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would suggest if the audience, they got any questions, they can write to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we'll put in the screen later on regarding, the detailed email address of yours.
Okay.
Because some of those decisions, they might be personal.
Sure.
So there's not appropriate to put in, the comments.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that they can write to you, sending an email to you, and well, whether it's English or Chinese is okay, because if there's Chinese, I can translate it to Minesh, and then we can answer the email. I think that will be easier because I believe it's not easy, to understand those new concepts and to change our habits, which we've been doing for years and years.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we need, After listening to what you said, if you think we do have any feedbacks or so, we can write to you.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, do.
Any other things that you want to tell us regarding decision making?
Well, I think in terms of decision making, we've gone through a lot today, even in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
The viewers are probably thinking all kinds of things now, trying to work out, okay, what did he say about this? What did he say about this? And please watch it again. Watch the video again if you've missed something to make sure that you get every part.
Okay.
What we don't want to do is overload the viewers with so much information that they don't actually do anything with it.
Yeah.
And what I want you to do is apply it, listen to the video again, watch the video again, and then apply it into some part of your life. And see what happens. And then you'll realize, hang on, what Minesh said actually works.
And I would suggest, if you have any questions, may not be your own personal experience, but if you have any queries, write to Minesh.
Yeah,
so that we can be able to answer in the next episode.
We can do, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
of course,
indeed.
without mentioning your name.
Yes.
Yeah.
No names.
So I think that will be easier for us to understand what you are telling us.
Yeah, sure. That's
Okay.
fine. We can do that.
So how about next week?
Next week, that's a good question. Hopefully by next week, you'll let me know, the viewers will let me know what they want to discuss.
Yes, for
if
sure.
not, I'll have something just as interesting and just as useful for our viewers.
Good.
So let's keep it as a surprise, shall we?
Okay. So meaning that next week, I believe we will receive some email that you will answer, that
Yeah,
is,
we can.
the queries.
Yeah,
that
and
the
we can do
audience
it in
get.
the video. Yeah.
Okay. And then, there will be something else.
Yeah,
Good?
certainly.
Good.
Certainly.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Minesh.
Okay.
One more thing.
Yes.
When will there be another investor from America coming and willing to spend £3 million for a house? Let me know, because I can move out tomorrow.
I've no idea because it's not my decision.
Yeah, okay.
I have no idea.
Good.
But like I say, you have to apply these ideals within your mind
Yes.
and in the right way that I describe them, and you'll get the answer and you'll know what to do. And it's not always someone else buying. It's always random things that happen that you would never expect. Your logical mind couldn't even decide that, okay, this will happen, then this, and this, and this, and someone will buy. You can't work that out.
Yeah.
But if you let your positive emotions decide for you, 99% of the time, in one way or another, it will work out.
Good.
So try it out, follow the principles, try it out and see what happens. And then let me know, yeah?
Thank you, Minesh.
Okay.
Thank you, audience, and please let Minesh know regarding any comments, suggestions, and that you have of how we can improve this program.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know.
Thank you.
Okay.